topic that you chose, and my topic was social media monitoring and measuring. So the first question I have is, well, most of the questions, just to start off, are about like different clients and how you decide to like use what social media or what social media campaigns or how you measure it and stuff like that. So
Okay.
the first question is, what concepts are there to measure results of successful public relations campaigns through social media?
So in terms of measuring a campaign, it depends on what it is. So if it's just like developing and maintaining a community on Facebook, for example, you can do that through Facebook's free tools that they provide for anyone that manages a page. So I mean things like the number of likes that you get, the number of shares, anything that shows people like engaging with the content that you provide them. That's a big piece of measurement for that type of social media program. If it's something like a contest and you need to get entries and you're giving away, something, a T-shirt or whatever the case may be, then that measurement is really just like online tools. So it's either like the free analytics that come with Facebook or Twitter, or it's using something like Social Mention, where you can just go to a website and type in some keywords and just see like the 10 or 20 people that are talking about it. So it really just depends on the size of the company.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, in social media measuring, what are the areas that should be measured most often? And is qualitative data more important than quantitative data, or is there really a difference in the two?
I think the two things work together. So, I mean, the quantitative, yeah, it's always great to look at a bar chart and to see, the number of fans increase steadily over time, or see the number of likes. But you also have to put that sort of information into context for a client and explain to them, why this happened, what it means for their business, whether or not some outside force influenced, an increase or a decrease in, what's going on their social networks. For example, if you issue a press release on a new car, of course you're going to get, more tweets about it, and so it's just kind of tying it all together in the big picture.
Okay.
Um, what was the first part of your question? I answered the second part.
What areas should be measured most often when you're measuring social media?
Um, I mean, I think it goes back to the first question you asked, where it depends on the platform, and then it also depends on what their goal is, and then it depends on sort of the type of program that it is. So if it's a contest, if it's just providing engaging content, that all will determine what exactly should be measured.
Hmm. Okay. Um, Next I have Facebook has an opportunity for users to view their analytics per
Mhm.
post. For social media sites that don't offer this service, like how do you measure the analytics? And for that, I'm talking like Twitter, Instagram, or Pinterest.
hmm So Pinterest does have analytics that are, do you mean for users or for like businesses?
For businesses.
Twitter or Pinterest and Twitter both have tools that
Oh,
allow you to
okay.
see the analytics. LinkedIn does as well. I'm not sure about Instagram. I haven't used that for a client, but I would have to think that there's some sort of measurement involved. Um, I think that any good PR person would use those things, but also have sort of a backup. So like a few of those paid tools that I mentioned, if it's a large client, those things really help sort of back up what you're seeing in the free services.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I think it's just having checks and balances. So I mean, there's things like, I think Cloud also does measurement of like the individual platforms if you pay for it. So when you get into that, there's usually a cost associated with it.
Okay. Um, okay. So when do you decide that the use of a social media campaign will benefit a client? Like, what needs to happen?
So, I mean, social media is really consumer facing. There are some B2B organizations that, it makes sense for them to be on social media, but it's usually in a different way. So, like, they might use LinkedIn, they might. So, I think it's just a matter of sitting down and talking with a client about what their goals are, what their business goals are, as well as their communications goals, and who they're trying to reach. If you want to reach teenagers that are, 12, 13, 14, you're not going to use Facebook because they're not on Facebook. You're going to go to Instagram, or you're going to go, to Wanello, or like whatever it is that they use. So, I mean, target audience is a huge consideration.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Okay. My next question is, in your opinion, what is like the next up and coming social media website?
Um, that's a good question. I mean,
Oh, magic.
I don't follow social, like the up and coming stuff, as much as I used to. I kind of think that, I don't know, I think the direction is going to continue towards like the video, like the Vines.
Mhm.
Um, and what that is, whether it's Vine or it's something new, I don't know.
Mhm.
But I think that that's just where I think we're sort of at a standstill, and that what exists is going to sort of just get better, and then from there, in a couple of years, I think that there'll be new stuff popping up. But I mean, geolocation was like the big thing a couple of years ago, and now it's like dead.
Mhm.
Not dead, but I mean, not Foursquare has sort of run its course, and it's like integrated into other things.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, that's like way above my my focus lately.
Okay. Alrighty. So, are you familiar with like the CIE and the CIV methodologies?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so the customer influence effect just represents the influence of one individual over another individual or over other organizations, and then the customer influence value is where you assign a numeric score to an influencer, and so
Okay. Yes.
so there's like some debate depending on like different people, different like social media professionals, whether it's useful, or whether it's helpful, or whether it's not. What do you think about it? Do you
So,
think it's successful or?
So we've done that. I mean, not like using that terminology, but it's
Mhm.
something that we do, and we do it for traditional media and social media. I mean, certain reporters are more important than others. If you're going to reach out to USA Today and Wall Street Journal, like that carries a totally different weight than like the, I don't know, Denver Post.
Right.
So I do think, from a like PR professional standpoint, and from like a corporate communication standpoint, I do think that there is value in prioritizing your targets,
Mhm.
and whether it's I mean, I see where the debate is, whether it's assigning a numerical score, which could be kind of subjective, like, it's kind of like clout. Like, what components make someone more influential than another? Is it the number of followers? Is it their content? Whether it's done that way numerically, or if it's just like, I mean, because if someone's worked in the industry for 20 years, like, they know who are influencers and who aren't, and they don't need to sit down and like calculate scores.
Right.
Um, So I think it's important the the process that you take to get to like that prioritization. I mean, I think it can go either way. Like we have guys in our DC office that would like bang on a desk and say, no, it has to be numerically based and it has to be, founded in like data. And there's just people that think that way. Whereas sometimes it's just, something that you can, sort of do subjectively based on your knowledge. So, I mean, that's kind of a non-answer, but I think that there's benefits to doing it, and it's just a matter of like finding the best process for your needs. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it did actually. So thank you.
Free social mention is a really good one. I mean, there aren't really a lot of free ones. So, I mean, you definitely have to go with the ones that are embedded with the platform. So, Facebook, analytics, Google Analytics is really good if you're dealing with a website or with newsletters. The Twitter Analytics and Pinterest and all of those free ones. And then if you're getting into really heavily detailed measurement, Radian 6, Systemos, Meltwater. I mean, it's sort of like the same cast of characters, and the tool that you use depends on, what's more important. We use Radian 6 for our clients when we need to do something big. Otherwise, we just sort of track, retweets. And I mean, none of our clients are like huge, doing huge social media campaigns. So it's sort of bare bones and just, tracking the increase in followers and things like that.
Okay.
So, but yeah.
Okay, well, that's all I have. Do you